You know what it is. Biggie Astrology, episode 137, Knowledge is Love. Me and my amazing guest, Gemini Brown. And we started off like how two MCs spitting astrology would do. It's that time. Gemini, get him.
Yeah. Oh, I like this beat. I gotta let it build a little bit. Okay. Welcome to the show, y'all. Knowledge is love. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. Uh. Listen up. Let me grab your attention. I live on a plane. It's called the fifth dimension. The home of poets and souls in transition. Flow potent. You know it. Gotta listen. Got a vision. One day they'll be my artists. The ones in control, putting out pure garbage. Can't fuck with the gifted. Always lifted. Never shy. Mercury and Sun, resting Gemini. I'm selling at it all. Cause I know I can. Watch me ascend, my friend. Like the Virgo I am. I hear the beat, hit the blunt, get gone. It's a crime. Your rhymes are nowhere near my zone. This is my throne. Call me sire. Be the supplier of a movement getting strong. Be the supplier to the day I'm getting gone. Till I expire, I'm forever inspired. I'm going.
Woo! All right, all right. Yo, man. Oh my God. Yo.
What up, Stephen the Jupiterian? He's in the
Yeah,
building.
what up, Steven? All right. Now the OG got to spit. You
Okay,
know, we having fun
OG.
with it, Virgo style.
Let's go.
What? You complete Biggie Astrology.
Uh,
Hey, yo. So what's my mission as I come to this planet? Move over Saturn, cause your rings can't stand it. I slammed it as my breath exhaled, and I'm coming through the oceans like orca the whale. 9 months in jail for the womb to the tomb. I was born in September, but I was ready in June. And my boy my brow to Gemini C, but off the top I just spit it easily. The Scorpio rising is so enterprising. Don't you understand? The ladies I was in the thousand back in the days when I was a single man. Don't you understand? I had a plot in the plan. Come on, son, I just jump in my pool. Lyrically off the top, you know I'm not a fool. The veteran with the Capricorn moon. You know what I do? I was ready in June. I said, that is the truth, you know. I got the truth. That's the ill scenario.
Yeah.
From the city of the N and the Y. Don't you understand? Of course,
yo, hey, your boy Illmatic. You could call me Nas. I've been a Poogie, but I'm better than Prize. I like the Wizard, but I live in Oz. I'm doing my thing, my God. Gemini, never lie, stay fly. My whole life, hell yeah, I've been that guy. I got the Leo in 12th, that's straight wealth. And let you know anything I need, I do it myself. Part in the wealth, I'm doing it part in, killing this beat, it's daily departing. I'm starting all of these fire flows. I'm taking everything that you need to know. I grow like a plant in the soil. Flow so hot that it make your skin boil. Bring the soil. I'm here and I ain't got no fear in the world. Yo, shout out to the girls.
What? That's crazy ill. I'm gonna break it down and then we'll start the show real ill. Your stars wait to collide on my last day. So when I leave this planet, I will exist anyway. What's the structure of being? There's too much water that I'm seeing, but I got a Pisces North Node. I know the code, my lyrical abode. Don't you understand? You know we like to float, levitate, never hesitate. You understand me and Gemini, we're both great. Lyrically, MCs you see, but we're here to spit knowledge and astrology for all of y'all tonight, B.
Fireballs.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Oh my God. Yo, this is what it's all about. I've been trying to get the young G on for a minute. And you know what? I gotta say, man, I want to tell you something. When I first started getting back, because I've always been into astrology, but when I first started getting back into astrology, and I signed up on YouTube. And yeah, I'm an OG, a veteran, but you're the veteran in astrology. And so when I first came back and started to like look at stuff and even understand YouTube, and I saw Peace Dealer and Dolo the Pilot Man and, you know, different astrologers. But I guess for me, of course, I was drawn right to my brothers, to Black men astrologers. And I think that it's so important because so many people, you know, have stereotypes and don't understand and don't really think. They think astrology is just feminine or astrology is not for men. And I was just like, nah, that's not true. You got real cats, real dudes who love astrology and understand this ancient wisdom. So I want to start off before we get into Pluto and Capricorn retrograde, all that in episode 137, Knowledge is Love. I want to ask you, man, what got you into astrology? How did
Yeah,
that come about?
yeah. Glad to be here, E. Glad to
Yeah,
be
man.
here. Just like we all watch each other. And I've been seeing you put in work. Once I saw you were double Earth, I was like, oh, it's a workhorse. And then he got all that Virgo. I was like, he's a workhorse, man. And no. But on a serious note,
Yeah,
um, it's a everyone. We all inspire each other. So the audience out there, they're inspired by us. But I'm very much inspired, like you said, by seeing others of a like mind, right? That you
amen.
can relate to, and it's like I said, seeing you put in the work. Being where I'm at. It's a beautiful reminder that every astrologer and their astrology is a journey, and those following your channel with you are a part of that journey. So
Yeah,
I, I'm constantly stressing this advice because we're here with Neptune and Pisces, y'all. But you really have to run your own race. You
yes,
really do, and it's about you and your journey. And I'm just the Virgo in me is always reinforcing that we have to apply the knowledge. We have to apply it in order for the transformations to occur. And these magical things and deep transformations occur through the little things on the everyday. And that is truly the gift of Virgo and Earth energy. So at the end of the day, it boils down to the work. And yeah, I connect with those who put in the work, and I'm inspired by those who get to it, man. So I wanted to say that.
nah, I
uh
appreciate that, man. That's good.
yeah
So what gave you the astrology bug?
yeah, the astrology bug. Um, I feel like it's always been there, right? But my spiritual journey started in about 2010. In 2010, I graduated high school in 2009. And
Wow.
yeah, so I say it like this. I made an agreement with the universe that I was gonna have this nice human experience, and then once I hit 18, it snatched me up and said it's time to get to work. So I was fresh out of high school. I was in audio school. I was in audio school. I was an audio engineer, and I was doing that. And in true Gemini fashion, I was always creatively expressing myself in various ways. So I was going to school. I was going to school in the day, being in the studio, and all of that. But then also doing poetry, discovering the open mic scene out there in NY.
Yeah,
And so essentially, I was burning the oil. I was out there, but I'm young. I had this energy,
yeah.
and one day I had an anxiety attack. Like
Oh,
I just remember like everything was a bit much. My awareness was very heightened, you
right.
know, and so I had that anxiety attack, and went to the hospital and stuff like that. Told me what it was. Then I ended up having one like a month later.
Wow.
So yeah, and then so once the second one occurred, the next day I was at the library. I remember I walked into the library, and there was a book, a cart of books going back, and my eye just zoomed in on it, a book that was about transcendental meditation. So I didn't even think about this. I just was like, okay, I'm reading this, right? Never thought about meditation or anything a day in my life. But I'm like, yo, like like I don't like the feeling of this anxiety thing, and like this the curiosity is like, let me see what this is about. Opened it up, and like I said, there was no resistance. I was just like, I'm trying this. I'm trying this. And so I began meditating, and consistently meditating. Then I want to say within the next month, I met my spiritual mentor. Now, all of this is still no astrology yet.
Okay.
So I meet my spiritual mentor, and then she proceeds to, we start to build on the universe. So in Gemini fashion, I'm getting a wide array of understanding on different things. So she's stimulating my occult mind, right?
Wow.
And this goes on for, and I also want to preface that I could give more details on how I met her, but but I want to preface that for me, this woman didn't know me from a can of paint. Uh, she was very different. I'm a black man. She was from Bulgaria, right?
Mm.
But I think because I was always close to my elders, I was always close to my grandmother. It was just easy for me. You know what I mean? Like to gravitate towards her and build with her. I don't know if anyone else in my position at that age would have took it serious, but I just did, and it was an ease there. So, she's teaching me about different things, and I'm continuing to meditate, and I'm noticing the changes within myself. I'm changing. My DNA is upgrading, and I can feel it at
And
this
those
time.
results were crucial to your growth.
Yes, yes. So you fast forward a little bit. One day, I'm building with her, and she just simply says to me, "What do you know about astrology?" And of course, I'm like, "I'm a Gemini," and all she says is, "You should look into that. I think it'll be." So I go next time I'm at the library. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I looked now." I've seen this. I had looked at. I think everyone does this. You look in an astrology book, where you just go to your sign, right?
Right.
So I had looked in this astrology book before. I'd been going to this library for years. I would read up on my sign whenever I was curious. So I go back, I get the same book, but it comes alive. The book comes alive, and
Mm.
the initiation begins.
Wow.
So, like I said, it's just when I reflect on the journey, it's truly the unconscious working, because just like all of us here were stimulated. Like, okay, this is cool, right? But my thought now is like, what makes you keep going? Now, mind you, I have so many other things going on, but I'm
Right.
making time for astrology, just me and the book, right? And that begins the journey. So for me, I bring all of that up because I really feel like my journey is different with the shot because it began with meditation and like a well-rounding some so it wasn't just information to me. By the time I got to the information, it synced in with my psyche in this way, in a particular way. It's like I was rediscovering it, which ultimately I was, and then it just keeps building there. Now the funniest thing is this is like 2011. Man, I don't realize I'm an outside guy, so I really be in the world, but I don't realize that people are teaching astrology on YouTube until maybe 2013. And I remember it was a full moon. It was a full moon in Scorpio. And I was just like feeling not grounded and just like, what is going on? So it just so happened I had joined, I was a part of a Facebook group for Virgo Risings. It was a whole Facebook group for Virgo Risings. And I mentioned to someone in the group, like, yo, this is how I feel. And he's like, you should check this guy out. He has good advice, and he's a Gemini. And that was and it was the peace dealer. So that was
So,
the first.
oh,
Yeah,
Peace Dealer's a Gemini. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, that's
yeah, he's
dope.
a Gemini. Yep, he's a Cat Moon as well.
Yeah, I knew it was a cat moon. That I did know.
So he's the first person I saw on YouTube or whatever, and then I was just like, holy shit. Uh, but honestly, I really can't locate the thought that said, let's make a YouTube channel. Like I don't,
Right.
and I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff is unconscious, man. It's you just doing what you're guided to do. Yeah, so that's a little bit of the beginning of my journey.
Well, you know what's so great in that you said a couple of key words, the unconscious, and that, you went into it through the meditation first. And none of that surprises me because you guys, Gemini Brown is not just Gemini Sun in 10th house with the Virgo rising. He's got the moon on the ascendant. So, of course, the mentor for Bulgaria, she was just naturally connected to that and sense, like the what is it? The master comes when the student is ready. And
Yes,
so like she sensed that, and she sensed this, like, she's like, who is this young kid? So
yes,
she got excited. And that was your Virgo moon. And then yeah, you've been doing this before. Like, we don't share many placements, but we both share the North Node, the fifth house. And for those who know, they know. But because Gemini's got the Uranus and Neptune there with the North Node, and the fifth house also, you guys, holds past life karmas.
Hold
Yeah.
on, E, because I might have been looking at your. I think I might be looking at the wrong chart that you for you.
Oh, for me, yeah. Well,
I got
the
you
whole sign,
Scorpio.
yeah. I'm the Scorpio rising, Cap Moon third house, yeah,
Okay,
and that
okay,
Virgo stellium in the 11th. But
okay, okay. No, it's
that's
good.
what was so dope when I saw that for you, because my North Node's in the fifth house in Pisces, right? Yours is fifth house Capricorn. But when I saw the Uranus
God.
Neptune, I was like, yeah, Gemini's been doing this, right, for multiple past lives. The Uranus Neptune in the fifth house Capricorn, it's like, yeah, astrology business. Like, you know what I mean? So you were
Yeah,
destined, and you're you know, at your young age, you're way ahead of the game, rocking in your North Node already.
indeed,
You're
indeed.
like rocking the North Node. But I think it's just beautiful. And I think, and maybe you let me know if you feel the same way. So every time, man, every time I get a new client, and I'm just so humbled and honored to be of service to the collective. But you know, when I hit that button and I see the chart, I'm like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just get excited, like the detective, to jump in. You know what I mean?
Right.
You still
Absolutely. No.
feel that? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no. I would say like you just expressed is definitely a life's work. Um, I'm pulling from a lot of factors. So when I was, discovering this, and I'm still amazed. So I just want to give a little light to Jupiter. So I always tell people, Jupiter is your slice of divine knowledge and wisdom,
Yeah.
right? There is a deeper meaning behind everything in the universe.
Yeah.
And wherever your Jupiter ends up, you're privileged to an understanding of that. This is said for a construction worker, right?
Yeah.
They have an understanding of masonry that the average person doesn't. Now, if they were to come into astrology or the occult with an open mind, their Jupiter would allow them to make the connections, probably from a geometric, a standpoint. But I say that to say it's all connected. So when I when I connect with charts, I'm very much seeing their journey in a sense, on various levels. So yeah.
Nah, I love that, man. So let's have some fun and chop in. You want to take a couple questions in the chat, or do you want to start with the Pluto Capricorn and just give them a little glimpse of that energy in the chart or whatever? Maybe we should say
Well,
hello to
I
some of the
see
people.
I see a comment that says in the 1970s and 80s, more women were studying astrology, even in the 1960s. Okay, I don't see any questions per se. Just
Yeah,
comment.
yeah, nah, that's dope. No, yeah, I mean, listen, you guys, you have to understand. I think for some who don't know, women have this spiritual essence and this right, men, we birth ideas and creativity and stuff like that, and women birth humanity and life and souls. But the divine feminine vessel is very connected to all of the occult knowledge and ancient wisdom and mysticism, and even, like they would call them witches, but that's got a negative connotation. But
Right?
even the medicine women, like, you know what I mean? So that feminine archetype in history and in society, yeah, like,
It
as
knows the mysteries. Yes.
yeah, and it's really just, it's so powerful. So I want to set it up for you guys, because this is an important energy, and I
And
thought it would be perfect to discuss it with Gemini. And we're going to get into some deeper insights on the Gemini archetype, because it is Gemini season. But Pluto is currently in retrograde, right, in Aquarius, but it's going into Capricorn 5:36 a.m. Eastern on June 11th, right? And that chart is a Taurus ascendant. So it's still got Jupiter in the North Node and in the conjunction, Mercury and Uranus, and that Pluto Capricorn's in the ninth house, with the chart ruler Venus being in Leo in a conjunction to Mars in the fourth house. And I just think it's a fascinating energy, along with, Saturn in the 11th house in Pisces and an exact Moon Neptune conjunction at 27 degrees. So for me, when I first saw that, I was like, Pluto conjunct the midheaven in the ninth house in Capricorn, and it's retrograde, right? So you guys have to understand this retrograde from June 11th goes all the way to January 20th of 2024. So that's why I really want to talk about it, because it's a very important knowledge that we need to understand how to deal with this energy, right? And then a quick another retrograde from September to November. But for this chart, it's just this energy, right? And so when you first saw the chart, Gemini, share with the audience, what was your first thing that you were like, what's really going to be popping off from June to January,
Right. So for me, the biggest thing to keep in mind here is that these are happening at critical degrees. And this is a transitionary period. We're coming to the end of one major transit and moving into the next. So all of this speaks of culmination, wrapping up. Now, the interesting thing for me and how I pay attention to the degrees. I believe each degree speaks and holds a particular vibration that, when you really start to tune into them, particularly the long-standing ones, like Saturn, that might hang out on a degree for a particular time, you can start to understand how to express the energy or how it wants to be expressed. So I'm looking at Saturn here at 7 degrees as a need to perfect what is already known and release. So a release and a renewal, okay? A release of everything that is connected towards the old, right? That you're leaving behind, or everything that Capricorn may represent for you or collectively, right?
Right.
And then there's a need to perfect the new state of being within one's spirituality, or I like to call it the building of a new paradigm in this current moment. Now that's where you add the other energy. So we know that Pluto is going back to then go forward into Aquarius. So what is preparing you, or how are you preparing yourself for that shift? Then when we come back, when we bring in the North Node here, it's like we all want comfort. We all we want security, right? And it's right now that's actually the restructuring of that. So how I see it is that this is granting us a time to perfect where we want to go, right? So this time period, this retrograde period, is like a seed planting point for when you look back 5 years from now, you're going to see the decisions that you did or didn't make, how they have bloomed. So I think it's a seeding point with emphasis on right action, but from the Saturn and Pisces perspective, which is like honoring spirit in that disciplined way. So,
Yes. That's
and
what
it's
I've been telling them. Yeah.
Gemini season, right? So it's like Saturn and Pisces represents for everybody the journey that you've been on. Uh, Depending on your age, it can go as far back as you like it. But let's just all say, this, since Saturn was back in, let's say, was in Leo or Virgo, since that opposition point. So that might have been around like '09 or so, right? There was yes, this is all actually very connected, because one thing I want to mention to you guys is there are many cycles, right? So we recently had, when Jupiter was in Pisces, Neptune and Jupiter conjunct. That represents a new period in regards to those energies. So the expansion of our spirituality, what we know, and how to apply it, right? So that's a new cycle. The one before that with Neptune and Pisces occurred in Aquarius. So that was in essence, the beginning of social media, right? And we all expanded within the social media sense since then. So this this time is about perfecting the things you've learned upon the spiritual path. So for some people, they've had to go vegan, right? Or they know that they've had to adjust their diets. For a lot of men that I work with, they're and this is a pleasure of mine, introducing them to semen retention, right? And going, for those in relationships, tantra, all of that is,
Yeah.
we all gain some understanding of how to transcend past the old limitations. Now it's about how do you ground that energy, perfect it, and get it to like carve out a place of stability and consistency for it.
Definitely. And see, and what I like about that, and just so you guys understand the reason why Gemini was kind of looking at that first, because even though it's a Taurus rising and the chart ruler is Venus, we are looking at Pluto and Capricorn, right? So because we're dealing with Capricorn, Saturn is its ruler, right? Saturn, rules Capricorn and Aquarius. And what's so fascinating about that, Gemini, that I really love what you were talking about, Saturn has just spent the last 6 years in its two home signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. So then when it makes the dance into Pisces, and I've been saying this to my audience for a while, it's very important. I like thematically what's happening here. Saturn is in Pisces in the 11th house, and that 7th degree, it's a very spiritual number. In 2023, we're in a Neptune K2 spiritual year, right? So when it's in the house of our hopes and dreams and wishes, and you're dealing with the internet and your group's organization, social network, Saturn in Pisces is telling and screaming to us, we need the spiritual discipline. So for you to get ready, to really get ready for when it goes back from 24 to 44, Pluto in Aquarius, right? The age of Aquarius, we're leaving the Piscean age behind. You really have to understand having healthy boundaries to achieve your goals and dreams in life, having discipline and also spiritual discipline that will help enhance your spiritual path and growth, help enhance your creativity, your imagination. And also, we have also, so important, you guys, don't forget, you're dealing with the Pisces energy and the moon and Neptune conjunction there. We have to stop diluting and falling for the deception, fog, and illusion, right? We can't lie to ourselves anymore. As we go into the age of Aquarius and we go into the 20-year, 24 to 44 of Pluto and Aquarius, it's no more power top down Pluto Capricorn, it's power to the people. But in order to understand and integrate that, you have got to be spiritually disciplined and have discipline in your life and boundaries, understand your restrictions, and sometimes restrict ourselves, right? Sometimes we can get caught up in the gluttony or too much social media, too much food, too much sex, too much this, too much that, too much materialism. Right now, if you're just looking at the world, if somebody was like passing by Earth, they'd be like, yo, that planet is right now too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much. And so I think that it's real deep that we have this setup and this alignment. And then, hey, moon conjunct Neptune at 27 degrees is really in time really for some really powerful, super intuitive, psychic, creative energy that I think can inspire the collective to form a different new world order than others want to put upon.
Absolutely. Let me first give a early birthday shout out to my fellow Gemini, Irene Mack. She's here very
Yes.
far. She'll be 40.
Yeah,
Now,
Irene, how you
Eric,
doing, lady?
there's one thing if we could divert. No, I won't go off because it's like I did want to ask you because I know you're a true child of the 70s. And part of me, being an astrologer, we're time travelers, y'all. We are time travelers. And connecting with these charts, especially the individuals, allows us to kind of get there. So I noticed, one of the things I noticed in your chart was that Neptune Saturn opposition. And just knowing everything that you lived through, the crack epidemic, how generationally, collectively, tell me how that was, growing up with that, and kind of seeing how all of that played out.
Well, it's so funny because no one has ever asked me anything like that. And so it's so deep, obviously I know you being a brilliant astrologer that you would see that, but that time was the 80s was so magical,
Mm.
but at the same time, you're dealing with a New York City that was like Times Square was like pimps and hoes and just like
The
it wasn't
underworld.
like how things got when Giuliani came and cleaned up stuff, and then also, you know, pros and cons with all that, right? But I can remember I grew up in like Washington Heights. I was on the 18th floor looking across the GW Bridge, and then we moved down um, to the Upper West Side. And so, quote unquote, real nice neighborhood, but it was like I think about my boy, um, it was a mixed bag, baby. You know, it was crazy wild because so I would walk down my block between Columbus and Amsterdam, but between Amsterdam and Broadway, there was a literal crack house.
Yes.
So I sometimes would be walking dolo, not with my mom. My father was murdered when I was 6 in 77. So I'm like 10 years old, 1980, and I'm going to the bodega, but I'm seeing people smoking crack. And then I'm seeing people like literally, I remember one time a cat came out with a gun and there was some stuff and all the stuff. And I'm just like, oh wow, I've got to be careful. You know what I mean? Like I've got to like, you know, you get this jolt, and I'm the Generation X, and so we were all latchkey kids,
Right.
and but there was this energy of like you have to peep everything. So everything was on peep, you know, and there was just such a surge because I'm like a younger brother of hip hop, right? And so I remember, you know, Africa Bambaataa and Zulu Nation, and you know, me and my boy, we were like, you know, let's be down with Zulu and stuff like that, and junior high school, and you know, there was that energy in the streets of like, let's not fight, let's, you know, battle with Boogie. And we was like, you know, Boogie, and I wasn't a graffiti artist, I couldn't tag or nothing, I couldn't bomb, that's what we called it back then. So one of my boys, like, he would, you know, bomb my name up for me and stuff like that because I wasn't a good artist. But I got into, you know, the footwork and up rocking, and I grew up in the Upper West Side, and my home basketball court is you know, where Earl Manning go. It's called the GOAT, and that's Rocksteady Park. So I knew Crazy Legs and all these different cats. And so it was really just a fascinating time in New York City. But I think the Neptune on the ascendant, I've come to really understand that it was like a guardian angel protecting me from all of the
Well,
bad.
do you observe you having Jupiter in the 12th?
No, because so when I first learned astrology and I did my chart in Placidus,
Right.
it didn't resonate.
Okay.
And so then I was learning and studying, and more on the Hellenistic side, I got down with the whole sign system. And then when I read my chart that way, it totally resonated,
Gotcha.
right? Because I resonate more, and my life experience has been the Libra Uranus 12th house compared to Scorpio 1st and Scorpio 12th. So my Venus and Jupiter definitely have been like my first house story. You know
How
what I mean?
tall are you?
Huh?
How tall are you?
Oh yeah, I'm 5'11". So
Okay.
the Jupiter, yeah, above average height.
I like to say this. No, I definitely rock with the whole sign. I do observe Placidus, and the Placidus, um, for me, when I meditate, when I astro travel, I under, I can understand I don't know who invented that and how they calculate it, but I feel energy like that. Like I
Yeah.
feel the shifts. I like to say that I've walked the zodiac before.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, they all hold validity. I
Oh
think there's
yeah. I
always
think it's all
many ways
techniques to
to
get
do
to the
something.
truth. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, for sure.
even and let me tell you, even with the Vedic, there's principles of the Vedic
How many
that,
siblings do you have?
huh?
How many siblings do you have?
That's a loaded question.
Well,
So
how many do you claim?
okay, so I definitely have a Jupiter in the first house life because I have 4 sons, 3 that I made, and then I have the um, two sisters, one, from both parents, just me and my one sister, but then a half sister. But then there's rumored to be a total of 5 or a total of 7, but I've never met the other siblings.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Papa was a Rolling Stone. So
Right.
yeah, so it's so
So
now,
that's why now check it out.
yeah,
In the Placidus sense, your North Node in Pisces would end up in the third house, and it would trine
in the
that
fourth house.
that Jupiter and Venus, suggesting siblings that you may not know about. So that's why I always say secret siblings, siblings that you grew a distance from. Then
Exactly.
also you mentioned that your father passed away. You said you were 7?
6.
6. Okay, that was approaching your Saturn square.
Yeah,
So
I know. I saw that one too. I know.
they work in both in a beautiful way. I'm sure, because and then you just alluded to feeling like you have a guardian angel. I wouldn't associate Neptune in the first with a guardian angel. I would associate a Jupiter. So Jupiter, if you go Jupiter in the first,
And Jupiter is that too. Yeah.
likewise as well. Any serious injuries in life? I assume so. Serious injuries, accident.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
the right
Wait.
ankle. Yeah.
Okay. Nothing. No face injury.
Nah, no face injuries. Not that I can remember. Not
Okay.
not like major.
Nothing major. Okay.
But you know what? One thing was so honey, and I don't know this because like the moon and the ascendant can be different sometimes with the Virgo. So how tall are you?
I'm 6 foot. So same height.
Yeah. So because sometimes I've seen in the chart, and this definitely plays in with your writing, because the moon I've noticed in the first, third, and fifth in multiple signs, definitely in earth signs, extremely good with music and with writing. The moon first, especially Capricorn and Virgo moons, and I've seen it with Taurus moons, first, third, and fifth, extremely good music creativity,
Right.
writing. I don't know. The chart is just like,
Don't say I don't know. That's something I.
no, I do know. I mean, it's
Right.
awesome.
Right.
I'm saying I don't know what it says. Like, it's just like, but it's so dope because I definitely resonate. Like for me, the moon third house with the whole sign, I resonate with that. And I've seen that play out in transit, even with my mom and taking care of her and all these different things. So it's really, it's but it's fascinating. But yeah, no, I definitely, there's some attributes of having Venus and Jupiter in the 12th house, which you can
Right.
relate to,
Right.
that have definitely, yeah, they are me too. You know what I mean?
All right. That's what I have, man. It's working on various levels. There was a question. Someone
Yeah.
asked here, how does Jupiter in the first play out with siblings?
It can give you more than 2 or 3 of them. I mean, because Jupiter is abundance. So usually when I see Jupiter in the chart for someone in the first, or any of the first 5 houses, that's one of the first questions I'm going to ask them. How many siblings do you have? Because usually you're going to have more than 2 siblings, and in the first house you're going to have more than 2 children too, first and fifth.
Right. I would say um, I would think, I would ask how many siblings and what number are you? I feel like Jupiter, let's say we get it in a strong sign. Now, the conditioning and stuff matters too, but what I want to say is,
Yeah.
I know that this position can be connected to the eldest child, and it therefore creates a natural leadership, and caring and just an expansion of self, because it's associated with being the first child. All of your you get all the attention, or you want attention, things of that nature. So
And
uh,
seeking knowledge and wisdom, and then
right,
wanting to teach it. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then wanting to teach it, right? So I've seen it where even if it's not the first sibling, it may be the sibling that is depended upon in some sense. It can they can be the breadwinner, very abundant within themselves. So yeah, so that can very much uh alter the dynamic with siblings. Okay, so how the person expresses that Jupiter in the first.
Yeah. So let's get back to the Capricorn retrograde chart. What do you think when you see the Venus conjunct, the chart ruler, it's a Taurus rising, when you see the Venus conjunct Mars in the fourth house, right? Thinking of the collective in Leo, what do you think about the Venus Mars conjunction in Leo in the fourth house for this chart, for the Pluto retrograde chart?
Yeah, so remember that. So that's another fixed sign, and then that'll be squaring off to the Jupiter, right, and the North Node. So once again, I'm seeing this as uh, a need to expand upon your Leo qualities, what you actually love, what your talent is, right? Paying attention to the signs. Now, the square aspect and everything can lead to uh, a rushing of things. Now, in one sense, a rushing of things, so wanting things to come quicker than they're going to, right? Biting off more than you can chew. Still struggling with those particular sensory things, right? Whatever it may be. Uh, but I also see this as having to do with ethics, and we can apply this to AI. So more of my thoughts in regards to the whole transit is that one of the things with it being a retrograde, we're going to revisit things, right? So the metaverse, many people believe, the whole pandemic was an introduction for the metaverse. Let's get them to sit down so we can get them to shift over. But it didn't work. The timing was off.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of their standards, that wasn't a successful launch. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a reorientation and a relaunching of the metaverse and trying to get, people over to that side. Then getting back to what I was saying about ethics and more of the Venus and Jupiter square off, the development of the relationship with AI. In one sense, it can represent. I would apply it for myself. Like, I'm a person, I have to. The Leo in me is like, I don't need the AI. I can do it. But the Taurus energy is like, let this thing help you. Right? It's coming. It's gonna be a standard. All right. You're gonna be fighting.
How do you ground it and find value in it? Yeah.
Find value. So that's one side. So you're gonna have people who fall on that. Then we're gonna have, going back to Saturn here. We got to acknowledge everybody ain't right. Everyone ain't gonna use this thing right, and it's
Yep.
honestly gonna. It's human nature, y'all. It's human nature. People are going to be mischievous and find the loopholes. I don't know if this is coming to your cipher error, but I've seen countless people in the AI industry speak out against it, leave jobs. One person is the co-founder of Mac with Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Wozniak.
Why was it not? Why is it not? Wizanowski and Elon Musk? They wanted to they were trying to tell the government, let's kind of pause and slow it down so we don't over rush into this thing. Yeah.
Indeed. So I believe that those are going to be two major components. So we're going to have to acknowledge that this thing is here and that everyone isn't going to play by the same rules with it. So you're going to have those who take advantage and or use it in an unethical way and things of that nature. So
You're
then
right.
that
The deception, that's that Neptune, Moon, and Saturn in Pisces. And it also makes you think about deception from large organizations.
right, right. Now, so I believe that this is, like I said, this is going to be a time where you're given a chance to anything that you've glossed over, that just say something you feel like something's missing, it isn't working for you. It's your responsibility to seek out the tools that help you transcend. It's like this for us all. This is a game, and there are certain tools that we haven't uncovered yet to help us get to that next level. And this retrograde will help with that. There just has to
Yeah.
be there has to be a commitment towards that. And it would just harping home like the way I see it. All right, let me just talk about Saturn and Pisces a little bit more. I don't know about any of you guys, but the energy's been it's been showing the things that you know need to go. You can't even derive the pleasure from them like that. And this is just the thing that's always helped me. Like, all right, the thrill is gone here. Like, what are we doing?
You're like,
Like you know,
later, bye. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Oh, and I for those of you interested, I have a program, a pre-recorded webinar where I dive into the psychic houses 4, 8, and 12. And within that, I talk about real transformation.
Yeah.
And simply, transformation is the death of something. And the understanding that if I let this thing go, if I experience this death, something is going to birth.
Yeah.
Something new,
Because
because
in order to transform, you have to transmute. And that's what this Scorpio South Node has been blessing us and teaching us.
yes,
And so we could purge and detox until July 16th before we switch to the Libra South Node.
we can even talk about that. But yeah, bro. So yeah.
So, you know, one thing that Gemini that I was really putting the people on, and you know, just seeing how things are coming down the pike, it's so fascinating because this is a long stretch of this retrograde going all the way to the new year and through the holidays. And, you know, just like Pluto and Capricorn brought in the stock market crash in '08, and through this journey, we've seen the illusion and the veil of all of our systems kind of go away, right? And we had Me Too and all that. And so I think, you know, this final cleanup at the energetic degree in 29 degrees, as you were talking about, these are very powerful degrees, you guys. I think that there is also going to be some of the structures and systems kind of falling apart for us as a collective and as quote unquote Americans in terms of that ninth house, our connections with foreign lands and even our currency, right? We're seeing, you guys, the formation of BRICS. And so it's really going to be fascinating on the world stage in terms of, you know, Russia, Ukraine, China, all this stuff that we're maneuvering through, right? What else needs to kind of transmute and be destroyed in order to rebuild, hopefully in better ways? But also we got to see with this Moon, Neptune, Saturn, and Pisces trying to rebuild, but being deceived in new structures, whether it's, you know, digital currencies, this and that, or whatever. So I think we also have to be mindful at this time that we've really got to pay attention. I don't think it's an accident that this chart's a Taurus ascendant, and you got Mercury and Uranus, Jupiter North Node there. So we've also got to pay attention to our self, right? Relying on ourselves, being disciplined, what we value, what we need to release in terms of financially or material items, but then having the fuel, right? On our own accord to build financially what we want in the future for ourselves, you know, and sort of tapping into that higher mind intellect. The Mercury, Uranus, and Taurus, we gotta really start to see things 5 steps before they come, you know.
Indeed.
It's
Quick birthday shout out to Jennifer Sweet, fellow Gemini.
oh, hey Jennifer, where you been, girl? Oh
Right.
man, I haven't seen Jennifer in a minute, man. You want to take a couple more questions, but happy birthday, Jennifer. I know
Yeah.
we got
If you guys have questions, drop them.
yeah.
I'm looking for them.
Okay. But we definitely got a lot of folks. You know, we're glad you guys are rocking with us, you know. And so one thing I want to ask you, man, um, when it comes to really understanding, you know, tomorrow, right? We're already in the Jupiter North Node conjunction energy.
Right.
But, you know, it's still going to be viable even June 11th for this chart, right? Just a couple degrees apart.
Right.
But what type of things do you think that people should be really focused on June 1st? And just in general, when you have the Jupiter North Node conjunction in Taurus, what can we bring into physical reality besides the dollar bills, y'all? You know what I'm saying? What else do you feel that we can really, manifest and
Yeah,
bring abundantly to ourselves?
yeah. So I believe that it's a great time for me personally, I believe it's a great time for investing in like the practical, putting a practical action behind your belief. You believe in yourself? All right, show me, right? What do you want to do? Okay, invest in that. So what and a lot of the beautiful thing about being an astrologer for me is that the practicing and having clients on a week to week basis allows me to understand the themes, right? So since I've began doing readings, it always moves in a theme. So any people I see for the week and read that week, they're all connected in some way. So
Mm,
leading into all of this, there's been a need to stand up to your fear regarding money. So we look at Jupiter as the godfather, the one that's blessing us. He's supporting us. He wants us to expand. So in a simple sense, you have to ingrain the belief that I deserve more. But you can't just think it. You got to do things that play towards showing self or the subconscious mind that you do. Make the standard that you want to obtain a habit. So I believe that Jupiter in Taurus, the whole transit is going to facilitate the expansion of material comfort, right? But behind that, what empowers that is uh our feeling worthiness to have those things. So in this moment, it's about treating yourself, right? Practically, you can write out your desires, speak, but I'm telling you to act on it, to
yeah,
put your money where your mouth is.
mouth
So,
is,
yeah,
yes.
that's how I see it.
No, and that's a real deep and mindful and beautiful interpretation because you know it goes back in my mind. I always say, I don't like talking about it. I like being about it. And I know having a Capricorn moon, it's gotten better over the years. I always tell my clients who are younger and stuff and people with the Capricorn moon, like, hey, I promise you it gets better. But one thing that never changes about it is that, like you were talking about earlier when you said you knew I had those places, it's the grindhouse. Like really just putting your head down and putting in the hard work.
Yep.
And with discipline and the fuel of the hard work, you can really achieve anything. And I always try, you guys here on the chat and people watching on the replay, you can do anything. And that's what's so awesome about the birth chart in terms of being able to see, as I call it, the map of your life, to go through it and see where your gifts and skills and talents are, but then understanding how you can bring them into fruition. And when you honor that Saturn, you know what I mean? And I know you just went through your Saturn return. So, I want a little to see how you did with it. You can let us know. But you know what I mean? And even for people getting ready for it in Pisces, you have got to respond to your discipline, pour the cement for the solid foundation, right? And really understand that with these structures you're building, you know what I mean? You have the opportunity for real expansion and growth. And so, you guys have just got to believe in yourself. I'm always like, I always tell people with the Virgo energy, and you could relate with this as a Virgo rising. Me, I got the crazy Virgo stellium, but I always tell people Virgos are the best personal assistants you could ever have. And Virgos are like if you said to a Sagittarius, "Do I look good in a shirt?" Sag is all blunt. They'd be like, "No," right? You ask a Virgo, "Do I look good in a shirt?" They'd be like, "I like that shirt, but what if you wore like cream or like a royal blue? It might bring out your skin tone and this and that." Virgo's got like that analyzing, assessing, where it's going to try to get you with no emotion to the most optimum point. You know what I mean? And I think that's a really helpful energy at this time to really, really put into action any desires, hopes, wishes, dreams, goals, and plans you have. Discipline, and hard work. You know what I mean? You got to just put it in. So
there was a question.
okay.
I've been following somebody. The mama is
Oh, Mama
Gemini.
Mist. Yeah. Hey, my
Mama
Mama
Miss.
Mist.
Okay. I've been following him for about 3 or 4 years. I'm an artist too, and he messages Sag rising, Aquarius sun, Cancer moon. Well, what jumps out to me there is your sun and your moon are quin connects to one another, and this is funny as hell because Aquarius doesn't do emotions, and Cancer is all in them. But um, let me put this together now. So I'm assuming you're a second house, second house sun, right? So that that's showing the need to establish, some type of roots to, you know, um, put your emotions somewhere. So the best advice I can give you is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be soft because it's truly who you are. And ultimately, you need emotional fulfillment in some area. Likely, with family first, and then be around those, whether family or not, that support that Aquarius in you. Okay, that genuinely feed that energy. But don't be too complacent either, because Sag rising, life is an adventure, and then you want to always remain adaptable. You want to remain
Yeah.
adaptable and
I
be
think
open.
her son is in the third, but I mean, it depends on the placid or a whole
Right, that's
sign.
what I said. Whatever it may be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. And you know what's so funny, Gemini, with Mama Miss, she, is a brilliant writer and poet, and that Aquarius sun, you know, what's so fascinating I find with the Aquarius energy, I work with them so much, and I collect Aquarius moons. Like they just like I got so many Aquarius moon clients, I collect them, but the Aquarius sun, man, they're so avant-garde and brilliant that sometimes they just have to switch their room that they're in because not everybody is, they're usually 5 to 10 years ahead, and so not everybody is rocking with their inner genius. You know what I mean? And then with that Cancer moon, that can hurt their feelings too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because sometimes it's just, and that's where I would say like tap in to see where your true Black Moon Lilith is. But like she's got to just find her tribe, because her tribe will definitely be like, yeah, I'm rocking with that Aquarius sun energy. You know what I mean? Because she's got it. Mama Miss is no joke. So we got any other questions? I think we're gonna get to rounding down this energy for this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, and then I want to really chop it up about the
All
Gemini.
right, shout out another one of my Geminis, Nia
Okay.
Lavie, who's also a budding astrologer. I'll be connecting with her in the future. She says, I would also say this transit will help us appreciate more natural pleasures, right? And be more resourceful. We natural pleasures and luxuries. We all have the resources we need.
Yeah.
Just be resourceful. I agree with that so much because I'm, y'all.
Who
Sometimes
who who said that? Gemini. Who was that? Who said that?
Nia Larice. Nia
Oh,
Larice.
Mia Larice. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Mia Larice.
Yeah, Nia Larice with an N. Yeah. Um,
Mia. Okay.
I
Well, cool.
believe, yeah, I believe that, man. I'm always for myself because the next part of astrology as well, but the spiritual journey is shadow work.
Yes.
Shadow work, and
Gotta transmute it out, y'all.
right. Sometimes you have to tell your shadow enough's enough. Like you are being greedy. No, like do you see what I'm seeing here? You know what I mean? So I believe that the shadow of America is materialism, right? Capitalism,
Yes.
whatever, all of that.
All of it.
So and it's crazy. It's crazy. One thing and I know this from connecting with others, because perception is everything. So you might perceive another spiritualist and be like, your channel's doing great. Your thing is doing great. But for them, they're unsatisfied with that
Right.
because they're holding it to another stand. They're comparing themselves to something else. When
Yeah.
in reality, it's taken away from them realizing that or having gratitude for this part of their journey. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
everything is gratitude. We have to know everything is gratitude and rocking really from the heart chakra. It's the most important thing, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that heart chakra. Indeed. Stay there. Stay in there. Yeah. All right, go ahead, bro.
Nah, so that's dope. I mean, overall, you
Hold on.
guys.
One question.
Oh, good, good, good.
Cancer Sun, seventh house, dealing with an Aquarius Sun, seventh house. Okay.
Cancer Sun, seventh house.
Dealing
Right.
with someone who is an Aquarius Sun in
So
the
a Leo rising with a Cap rising. Oh man.
So, man, that is two different approaches to what you want.
Yeah.
Way too. So that I would say you got to establish where we're going. You talked about boundaries, E.
Yeah.
Boundaries are everything, these days. So, and I find it, the beautiful part about getting older, I find is in relationships, being able to be honest. Like, listen, I'm not I'm not for this or what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And I would say this, if it's a fear, that means you're supposed to do it even more, right? Get it out the way, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, for the brother who asked this question, establish what your intentions for this partnership are. And
Always.
understand that there are going to be differences. And I would say, from the sun perspective, make sure that the relationship is revitalizing. Sometimes when people have strong positions like that, it could be like two cardinal signs, two mutable signs, or in this case, two of the same house positions. You're not growing. Or it's the energy isn't helping you expand as you may need because there's so many similarities. Okay, or you're actually not really happy with the individual. You know what I mean? So it's important to
Yeah.
make sure you know why you're in it, and more, how does this feel? Is this going in the direction that I wanted to go in? Am I experiencing the partnership how I would like it?
Yeah, and one is really wanting more freedom and liberation and high intellect communication, and the other is wanting more of the nurturing and caring and family life from partnerships. And you got to always look at your Venus, and then your lady's Jupiter, the Moon, the Juno, all these different things. But two seventh house suns, there is a desire to want to be in a relationship. So that is a good thing. But ego wise, right, how are you guys feeling about the other half and the partner in that relationship, right? The Aquarius, they're dancing in a more fixed way that sometimes they might be like, that home life thing is nice, but I need more freedom. I want to go explore. I've got to do business. I've got to, expand this and do this. And then the Capricorn is like, I'm just wanting to, build these solid structures with my Cancer Sun seventh house, where we're building for this legacy, home career, this pillar foundation, where the Aquarius might be like, that's cool, but I've got to explore first.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I've got to figure out like this certain DNA strand on this thing that like is going to change civilization forever. So it's like it's similar, but you're talking about an Aquarius and a Cancer Sun, it's really, really different. But you definitely want to look at, all those other things and stuff. But I tell you this, because like you, I know you kind of do, different things as well. I also do relationship coaching. And I got to tell you, I'm always baffled about how little people communicate before they are formulating the foundation of their relationship. And we were hinting on that before about boundaries, but you have got to ask all the questions. You can't come to the table where you're ready to put a ring on it and you guys haven't even had a conversation or an agreement on how many children you want to have. Or if you want children. That's absurd. You've got to like put your cards on the table. And it's not like a verbal vomit, like, like people would, love to do when they meet Gemini, because he's got the moon in the ascendant. I'm sure your whole life people will be like, hey, Gemini, here's my life story. Blah! You know what I mean? Like moon in the ascendant, that happens. But people, we've got to be honest with our desires, with our dreams, our goals, our No, that's a deal breaker. No, I don't want to do that. No, I'll never leave the East Coast. No, I don't want to leave Brooklyn. You've got to communicate and really be honest when you're trying to establish a committed relationship and bond.
Yeah, I gotta let me comment on here, Mama Miss. I I'm a seasoned astrologer. I've dealt with all the Aquarius placements on a personal level, friendship, romantic, and then I listen to my clients. It's not a very emotional energy. If anything, what I observe is let's just say in regards to, now keep in mind we're different planets and different places are going to do different things.
Yeah.
The energy is non-traditional to some extent. I've had many Aquarius types tell me like they they may not want to do what the partner wants them to do. They may know what makes the partner happy, what would make them happy, but something in them has to rebel against that. And what ultimately what that does, that you're not enabling yourself to connect emotionally from their side. It's making it, this is my what I want, right? So you're not allowing yourself to emotionally gravitate towards what fulfills them, which can in turn be fulfilling for you. So, and then when we look at it archetypally, it's the archetype of a scientist. The scientist is the atheist. It's very non-emotional, very non-emotional.
Yeah.
But like you're going to be different because you are a Cancer moon. That is the moon in its own position. But yes, emotions are very difficult for Aquarius moons at that, and worse if you have some type of Saturn aspect as well.
And what's so funny I found, honestly, with a lot of Aquarius suns, not as much with the moon, but definitely with the suns, they are themselves super sensitive. So they're afraid sometimes of the one-on-one connections, and they prefer the groups because there's not the opportunity for being emotionally hurt and destroyed.
Yes.
So they, you know what I mean? So they like to keep it light and fluffy because the deep intimacy, they're very different from, the square to the Scorpio. Scorpio is all about merging and deep intimacy. Aquarius is like, and I remember back when I went through, a string of dating Aquarius women, and, the emotion aspect of it, there was always this, I'm putting up a little bit of a wall. You can get close when I'm ready, but it's not a mutual agreement of when to get close. And so there's also that protection aspect. And maybe, and for her, that Cancer moon can bring that down a little bit. You know what I mean? But they've got to stop being, a lot of Aquarius sons have got to stop being afraid of getting hurt. That's why there's sometimes that fixed stubborn energy. But enough about this. You guys are going to rock with this chart and this Capricorn retrograde. Be prepared for structures and systems falling away to the side. It's okay. We're going to rebuild. Age of Aquarius. Let's do this as a collective. Raise your vibration. But Gemini, you're here. We're going to rock out a couple more minutes. Give me some insight, bro. I mean, one of my sons, I've got a bunch of them, but one of my sons has your exact placement. And we talked about that before. But so separate from just the Gemini sun in the 10th house, right? Just the Gemini archetype.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me just comment because I'm reading the comments.
Yeah. Okay, what happened?
Hey, y'all. That in my time, Gemini, and these are the deeper workings. The 8th house of Scorpio is Gemini. In my time, I tell people Geminis are very capable of long-term partnerships. We actually we maintain them well. Yeah. We're just not like Libra, like, hey, this is our Instagram. No, you're just not gonna know what a Gemini is doing. But from my studies, Gemini and Scorpio is a combination that creates longevity. These are very happy people together. And Jennifer was talking about her dynamic. They have 2 homes, and they take their needed space.
No, it's a beautiful thing that she's built. And you're right. Geminis do get a bad rap. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I get it. No, I definitely know Gemini men and women both cheating. But I would say in relationships, but if I'm being fair, it's mainly been when they were younger. Usually I find after the Saturn returns, that energy kind of starts to dissipate. But it's also, as you would say, right? And it's about who do you want to be? How do you want to grow and evolve spiritually as a human being? But the Gemini sun, just like any sun sign, is different in every house. So this is why sun sign astrology, you just picking up a book or looking at the horoscope in a magazine, will always do a disservice, because somebody will say, "Oh, I'm not that type of person." It's like, well, because you don't know what house your sun sign's in, and you don't know the whole chart. Astrology is never one placement, you guys. But just in general, what's one of the Gemini stereotypes? Because okay, so I'll tell you like this, right? On my channel, I always call Geminis the verbal slut. And I mean it as a term of endearment, because I think you guys are so brilliant because you're willing, sometimes unlike the Virgo, but that Gemini Mercury, you're willing to talk to anyone everywhere. The homeless person, the person at the bank, the person on the two train.
This is a very big stereotype. You have to go to these other positions for this. Gemini suns are, all right, I guess if we go first house, fifth house, where it's like, I want to be seen, we are our truest essence or most verbal around friends.
Yes.
So I can't agree with, like, because if in my observation, like when there are if there are 8 people in a room and there happen to be 4 or even maybe 3 Geminis, we're not all gonna be hitting it off.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Right. Someone has to. Now, the gift of it is, if I'm in this room with 8 people and I'm the only Gemini and y'all are not got this conversation moving, I got this. But we're not just like, ooh, I want to talk to you. What's your name? I'm going to break it down for you because I've observed this. Venus in Gemini, oh my God. They think if I'm talking to someone, this is this is going somewhere. Like, they are the masters of small talk. They want to, if you're pretty, they want to talk to you. They may not want to talk to you after that, but they want to get close to observe you, check you out, all of that.
They're very social. Venus Geminis they're socialites.
Right. And I believe more social than the suns, depending on where it's at.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's very much a stereotype for us suns. Because I think in my experience, my Virgo probably jumps out a little bit more, because I think if you meet me somewhere, I'm not just gonna be talking. Now, when it's my turn to talk, you may like how it sounds, and oh, I like how you said that. But for the most part, I consider myself very reserved. But if I'm passionate about it, whew, then yeah.
So let me ask you this. That's fascinating, because I would associate that more with the Virgo moon and the Virgo rising. But let's say if you had that Gemini sun and you were a Libra or Cancer rising, how do you think that would play out?
Well, yeah. Oh, I know. I actually have a lot of Gemini sun, Libra, Libra rising clients.
Okay.
And these are real seekers. They're, I would say, just off that could sway it. That could make them a little bit more bubbly. But I think this is all things, y'all, how I consider stuff, because Gemini is your local environment. So I need to know where this Gemini is from. Is he from the East Coast? Is he from the Midwest?
Yeah.
That's going to add a dynamic to it, right? But yeah, it would elaborate more of that spirit. Yeah, for sure.
So one thing that I do want to ask you about, because and this may not be for personally Gemini Brown, but this may just be astrology experience Gemini Brown. Because I'm Virgo Sun and Virgo Mercury, and you're Gemini Sun and Gemini Mercury. And one thing that I really enjoy about watching the Gemini energy is, I think sometimes with the Virgo, we both deal with the nervous system and anxiety stuff, right? But I find that sometimes with the Virgo energy, I can be, not now, but when I was younger, just so over analytical and assessing and assessing. With the Gemini, because it's a masculine, outgoing, more outgoing, action-orientated energy,
Yeah.
I didn't see, especially in my 20s and 30s, my Gemini friends, I didn't see the over processing. It was just like, jumping into the jump rope, double dutch. You know what I mean? Where the
Yes.
Virgo was like a little bit more hesitant to jump into the double dutch, and they were like, they were calculating it more. Do you sense that, or like,
Oh,
how do
it's,
you
it's,
play that out mentally?
for me, it's beautiful, bro. I mean, through I can't say it was ever. I never allowed the Virgo to overpower me.
Right.
It was there. It's like, all right, for example, I played sports growing up. Like I couldn't turn it off after a bad loss. Like, and mind you, Eric, I'm sure you know. Remember Chris Webber?
Oh
Remember?
God, yeah.
I've been there. I've been there, and I could not like. I
Well,
couldn't turn it
but
on.
that's that Virgo moon, because the
It
Virgo,
just it's just playing it over. Like, damn, if you did
yep,
this,
yeah,
but
you should have done that, and that's the thing. Like,
yeah,
one thing that I think fascinating that people don't understand, and this is definitely a Gemini Virgo thing, mercurial energy is super competitive. And like when I played sports, I ran
yeah,
track in high school and growing up, football, baseball, basketball. But like, yeah, the losing part, it was like, let's play again. Like what Coach Spoelstra said the other night, and I told the audience we might get, we both like basketball. We might get into talking about the NBA Finals for a second, but like what he said after Game 6, he was like, "We're ready to play Game 7 right now. We want to
right
lace
now.
it right now." You know what I mean? And I was like,
They
I
know
was in
what
the,
they
I was
gotta
in the
do.
TV. I felt
They
that. I
know
was
what
like,
they.
yes, let's go. Let's play right now, Jimmy Butler. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's very mercurial. Would you agree?
Yeah. Now in terms of being competitive, I would say that
Well, that's
Mercury.
Mars. I know. Yeah. I mean,
But also if you want to apply it to Mercury and contrast it with Virgo, Gemini is not. Gemini is more concerned with the experience. Very
yeah.
much. Gemini is like, all right, Virgo may want to know, like, all right, we're going to travel somewhere. Virgo's like, all right, I want to hit here and here. I want to do it. And if they don't hit it, it's like, damn, if I don't get to go to these places, it's kind of a waste. But Gemini's like, what? We were there, bro. Like this is. So that's kind of how it is. So to answer your original question, it's beautiful because the Virgo is so necessary because it allows me to spot the flaws and it allows me to go deeper into it. But the beauty is the Gemini knows when to be like, and it may be because it's the masculine force here in the masculine, and like it doesn't matter, bro. Like we, it doesn't matter. Now, the older I get, because I have Leo too, the older I get, I've had to realize that like I I don't want to look at things too much how I see it, but I do have to kind of step back and see how everyone else is seeing it because I can. But the Leo in me inclines me, well, I like it. And if I like it, they're gonna like it. That type of thing. Yeah.
Well, definitely with the Leo stellium. I mean, I know I don't have any Leo places, but I know the Leo energy so well.
Yeah.
And, raising Leo boys, and it's so fascinating because, you know, all the fixed signs. I will say, people underestimate how emotional or sensitive fixed signs are. Man,
Well,
they.
I want to say this. I want to say um the only like in a sensitive. No, I would say that Aquarius is obviously seen as how they're seen, but um for me personally, I don't really. It took me a while to really see Taurus as like violent, or I still kind of don't because I resonate with the energy how I resonate with it, but I'm like, all right, they're the opposite of Scorpio, so some shit is there. But no, I feel like Leo and Scorpio definitely get
Oh
honed in
no,
on.
no, they're you see them as sensitive, definitely, because there's a passion intensity there, with Taurus, the archetype of the calmness, and Aquarius of like the weird, like bizarre, unique genius, and you know what I mean? Like, I guess maybe it's those two that you don't, because they actually are. I was very surprised. I had a Taurus mom and an Aries dad, and but the sensitivity of the Taurus, it's not something that you expect, but it definitely will pop up, and you're like, oh, really? Wow! Like, you know what I mean? That I find fascinating overall. But so let me ask you this though, in terms
Mhm.
of a difference between, you know, you don't have this, but just in the Gemini archetype,
Yeah.
since it is Gemini season, Gemini's ascendants and moons, what do you think for them is the biggest difference between those two compared to the Gemini sun?
Okay. Okay.
You see
So
yeah,
yeah. The sun is it's coming out how you want it to.
right. You're
And
directing it.
we're assuming that the Mercury is well placed too.
Yeah,
Shit, I like Mercury. I like Mercury in Taurus. I like Mercury here in this little cluster here. You know, it does well.
yeah.
Um,
Mercury in Taurus is real smooth, man.
and it can create in the right houses. It can create. It can add to that artistic ability um, that comes with Taurus. Good aesthetics, and you know how to put things together.
Yeah,
But the moon may struggle with being heard how they hear themselves.
yeah.
Now, these can be great writers, but the concentration, it's the concentration. Like, so what I've seen, uh, there are going to be other factors, right?
Yeah.
But let's say we end up with maybe Moon in Gemini squaring Chiron and Virgo. This is this is learning difficulties. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And it could be a plethora of things. It could be dyslexia, so many things. And I actually work a lot with the Chiron in Gemini generation. Uh,
oh yeah,
yeah, I have a lot of them. So yeah, with the moon, it's getting the idea, getting everything that's in here out in an orderly fashion. So I would say that'll work good with the very successful Gemini moons I've seen are with supported by fire. Are supported by fire.
yeah.
Whether
No, I can
that
see
be
that because the fire is
and,
helping it
and
to flourish.
every Leo Gemini type I've come by is very illuminated, like very enlightened on some
Mm,
degree. They don't have to be into astrology, but they're it's this the self-awareness is there and you can pick up on that. So and for the Gemini moon, they need other energies that allow that inner self to fulfill the will. So what do you want to communicate? Well, how do you want to express? And then focus on mastering that.
yeah, and you know, I've seen because I have two boys with those energies, and you
Wait,
know,
what the Gemini moons?
well, one son with a Gemini moon and one with a Gemini rising, and
Okay.
it's very similar but very different. But with the Gemini moon, if they cannot state their case or state their opinion emotionally, they get extremely frustrated. And the Gemini rising happens to have a Virgo moon, and they're more private with their emotions and really open up more socially around friends, but can be almost like you know, because that moon, Virgo moon in the fourth house with the Gemini ascendant, their emotions, they don't ever you may not ever see them. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting. But I find Gemini risings, they
Do you think that this son, let me ask you, or do you feel like does he shy away from the support or like taking help? I always say this. I'm
yeah.
actually gonna make a video about
They want
this.
to do it themselves. Yep.
Yeah, I actually make a video about this. I'm gonna do placements that have a hard time accepting love. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
I do Virgo is on there.
Yeah.
Virgo, yeah, Virgo's on there.
Well, you know, Virgos and Sagittarius are the two most like bachelorette signs, you know what I mean? And so there is this energy of like Virgos and Sagittarius, they want it, but they like, I could also rock by myself if I have to. You know what I mean?
Right,
There's
right.
definitely,
Wait, now, mind you, all the mutables feel this,
yeah.
but Gemini and Pisces are like, nah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna give in a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know it's definitely, it's funny. It's like the two squares. Yeah. Because the Virgo Sag, it's, so like, okay. So just wrapping it up, we're not looking at any other placements. Just a Gemini sun, male or female. What other sun sign? You know, obviously everybody would just traditionally be like, oh, they're great with all the fires, Aries, Leo, Sag, and they're going to be good with Libra and Aquarius. But give someone out there that's a Gemini sun, what other sun could they really build like a healthy bond with in a
I
relationship?
I said it earlier. I'm gonna say it again. Some Scorpio,
Yeah.
but externally, this Scorpio, because there are some talkative Scorpios, like. Yo, there really are. Like, there are really quiet ones, but damn, there are some talkers out there. And I'm like, God damn. So now, and for me, that was eye-opening. I was like, okay, shit, I'll rock with a Scorpio if she could talk. If she could communicate, I'm like, all right. But no. I said this before. Scorpio, Gemini is the 8th place of
Yeah.
Scorpio.
Yeah.
So there is some magic there. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Gemini's 6th place, which we know that corresponds to 6th house is Virgo. So there's some healing that they can provide for one another, but other energies are contingent. But on a sun to sun, I would say the sleeper and what is improving in longevity is Scorpio sun. Um, in my own experience, my mom's a Sag,
Mm.
and I've had significant partnerships with Sag.
Okay.
And to Jennifer's point, they allow we make this understanding like, listen, I'm not trying to see you every day. Okay, all right. You go over there. We got these phones. We got these phones. You need me? Holla, right? I come to your place. You come to mine when you're ready. But that's been my experience. Like, so I enjoy the freedom that Sag allows me as a Gemini, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
and then they were also crucial in my awakening because they listen. They're here
Yes.
for they listen, and I needed that. I needed, like, to be able to talk that shit and all of that. So I enjoy Sagittarius, but I know that everyone can't really. Oppositions are tough, man. They are tough. They are tough.
But let me
Okay.
ask you this though. What about, you're a Gemini man. What about a Gemini lady?
For a Gemini man,
Yeah, Gemini lady.
yeah, my first love ever was a Gemini woman. Um, Man, other factors got to come in. I would want for me, I would want her to have a strong feminine presence. So
Yeah.
like a Cancer moon, some fourth house stuff,
Yeah.
uh, 8th house, being able to get out your head and
Yeah.
and and
And a
and
little nurturing,
a little nurturing, right?
caring.
Right.
Yeah.
She can't be too airy. So that could work. That could work. Yeah.
Oh man. Yo, bro, we gotta do this again. This has been more than fun. And
Right.
I want you to just share with the audience. I'm sure everybody, some people may not know, but I'm sure most people, how to reach you and stuff. But I always, afford this opportunity to all of my guests. I put your, Gemini Brown's email is in the description down below so you guys can reach out to him. But share your website, social media, anything you want to share. And, and then before we rock up out of here.
Okay. Yeah, y'all. The Gemini Brown on all platforms. Check me out on YouTube, Gemini Brown Astrology. On IG, Gemini Brown 618, GeminiBrown.com. You can check out my services and my programs. My book here, Astrology of the Matrix, is an incredible read. All
Oh my
right.
God, that sounds
This
dope,
is
man.
this is the most non-traditional astrology book you'll come across. I am not telling you what it means to have Pisces fourth moon in the fourth house, nothing like that. I'm taking you through the body of creation and showing how astrology applies to that, along with some other cool occult principles. It's designed to tap into your DNA and bring what's in your DNA to life, right? And it's meant to put you in other directions. So it's a worthy investment. I'm currently running a special where if you get a reading from me, you get 50% off of this. So just holler. Yep.
I love that, bro, man. Mad props and congratulations on that, my brother. This is mad fun. So real quick, Denver Nuggets, Miami Heat. I got the Nuggets in 6 games. What's your NBA Finals prediction?
Yeah, you got them in 6?
Because
Yeah,
Jimmy
no,
Butler.
that's respectable, bro.
No, you know why? Because Jimmy Butler, aka Jimmy Jordan, that kid is no joke. And I just believe he's gonna get a game, and Bam will wake up for one game, and Kevin Love and Kyle Lowry, they'll help him get one game. So yeah.
Yeah,
Kyle
no,
Lowry.
I want the Miami Heat to win.
Yeah.
I love Denver. I think they are a phenomenal team.
They're just so deep. They're so deep.
It seems the year of the underdog, right? So I'm gonna go with Miami.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami. I mean, logic says Denver should crush them, but we got Uranus and Taurus, Jupiter and Taurus. Let's see how it goes.
So wait, you gonna take Miami in 7 or in 6 or what?
I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take them at 7 because I'm anticipating them not to take to. If they could win a game in Denver, then they're gonna bring this. They're gonna bring it to life. But it's gonna be hard. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard.
Nah, Jamal Murray and the Joker are no joke, yo.
Right. But they came out that series, so they emerged tougher. Right? They went 7. Denver's been sitting. They got to just keep that intensity. But we shall see. So you got to.
It's gonna be fun either way, man.
Denver is 6, Miami and 7. I got over here, and I'll reach out to you to get you on my channel.
I appreciate that, bro. It'll be more than fun, man.
Word, for sure.
Definitely. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining Gemini and I.
All of y'all
Rocking episode 137. Knowledge is love. Peace. Yes. Be safe out there.
And the cipher was in the beginning. Go back to the beginning.
Yeah, tell them to go back and watch the cipher. Yeah, go back and watch the beginning. The whole show was dope. We went in the beginning, and it was just a pleasure, my brother. So definitely. All right, you guys. I'm
gonna follow back.
And I'll be back Friday night, episode 138. And Miss Elena from Searchlight Tarot is coming back. We're going to be dealing with relationship where astrology meets tarot, so you don't want to miss it. We'll be rocking 8 p.m. Eastern for episode 138, Knowledge of Love. Gemini, it's a pleasure, my brother. All right, you guys. Talk to you soon. See you Friday. Peace.